All right, let's dive right in. We're going to investigate the incredible, almost unbelievable sequence of events that created our world and made all of this, all of us, possible. It's an amazing story of cosmic violence, planetary chemistry, and biological revolution.
So, this is the big one, right? Out of all that cosmic chaos, how in the world do you build a planet that can actually sustain life for billions of years? This is the central question of our little detective story. And as you'll see, the recipe is way more specific and improbable than you could ever imagine.
You see, our planet isn't just some other rock spinning around a star. It's this crucial platform, this hinge point where the huge impersonal story of the cosmos, of stars and galaxies, actually transitioned into the intimate, incredibly complex story of biology. It's literally the meeting point of physics and life.
So you have to ask yourself, just how lucky are we to be here? Because while planets might be pretty common out there, planets with the kind of stability and endurance needed to host life for billions of years, well, they're exceedingly rare. So many things had to go perfectly right.
Just how small are those odds? Well, based on just a handful of the most critical factors for long-term stability, recent estimates put the probability of a planet like ours forming and surviving at, well, look at that. Just 0.2%. That is an incredibly small number.
So where does our planetary recipe even begin? Well, the first key ingredient was forged in absolute fire, and this was not a gentle process. We're talking about a cosmic catastrophe that, paradoxically, set the stage for all the stability that was to come.
Okay, picture this. The early solar system was a total mess, a cosmic demolition derby. And right here in this very orbit, there wasn't one planet, there were two. You had a proto-Earth and another planet about the size of Mars that scientists call Theia, and they were heading straight for disaster.
And what's wild is that this catastrophic collision wasn't an ending at all. It was a creation event. Theia didn't hit us head-on. It was more of a glancing blow. This allowed the heavy iron cores from both planets to merge and form our Earth, while all the lighter, rocky stuff got blasted into orbit, eventually clumping together to form our unusually large moon.
And that one single, violent event helped lock in several absolutely key features for a stable planet. That giant moon, it stabilizes our planet's wobble, which gives us predictable seasons. And the massive, hot core from that merger, it generates a magnetic field that shields us from deadly solar radiation. Every single step in this recipe is like a roll of the cosmic dice.
Okay, so we've got a stable platform. It was time for the next ingredient, the spark of life itself. But life didn't begin in some nice, warm, sunlit pond. Nope. It started way down in the darkness of the primordial oceans.
Way down on the ocean floor, far from the sun's harsh UV rays, you had these deep-sea chimneys. Think of them as perfect little laboratories. They were pumping out mineral-rich, hot water, creating these ideal energy gradients, the perfect conditions for the very first self-organizing chemical reactions, the actual building blocks of metabolism.
Now, for an incredibly long time, billions of years, life stayed super simple, just single-celled organisms. But then, a revolutionary new energy source was discovered: photosynthesis. The only problem? Its waste product? Oxygen was highly toxic to almost all early life. It literally triggered the planet's first global pollution event. And this didn't happen overnight. It took hundreds of millions of years for that oxygen to build up. First, it rusted all the iron out of the oceans, which is what turned them from green to blue. Only then could it flood the atmosphere, forcing life to a critical crossroads: adapt or die.
This crisis forced a massive change. It led to a totally new kind of relationship, turning life from just a passenger on planet Earth into an active, indispensable partner in regulating the entire planetary system.
This whole idea is known as the Gaia hypothesis, and it suggests that the Earth and its whole web of life act almost like a single, massive organism. They work together, actively managing the global climate and chemistry to keep the planet within a habitable range.
And believe me, that regulatory system was seriously tested. Earth has this natural tendency to flip-flop between two stable climates. One is the warmer world we know and love. The other is a deep freeze snowball Earth, where runaway ice cover reflects sunlight and locks the planet in a cold state. Life had to work really hard to keep us out of the planetary freezer. In fact, as the sun itself naturally got hotter over billions of years, life had to prevent the planet from overheating. A major solution was to pull massive amounts of carbon out of the atmosphere, burying it as coal and oil. As the scientist James Lovelock puts it, our rapid burning of these fossil fuels is now basically reversing that ancient safety mechanism.
But this partnership between life and the planet wasn't just about the climate. It also completely reshaped Earth's geology. I mean, when our world first formed, it was made of only about a dozen different types of minerals. Geologically speaking, it was pretty simple. But then, life came along, and it started actively changing the planet's surface. By doing things like pumping oxygen into the atmosphere and learning how to build shells and skeletons, life became a geological force in its own right, a literal mineral-making machine. And the result of that partnership? Well, today we know of more than 5,000 different mineral species on Earth. And get this, it's estimated that life helped create at least 2/3 of them. Our planet's amazing geological diversity is, in large part, a biological creation. So our investigation has taken us from a cosmic collision all the way to deep-sea vents and a planetary-scale partnership. We've basically revealed the recipe for a living planet. And in doing so, we've shown just how improbable and how precious our existence truly is.
So when you trace all the clues, you see that our world isn't the result of a single lucky break. Not at all. It's the product of this long, incredibly fragile chain of cosmic, geological, and biological events. If any one of those links had broken along the way, we simply wouldn't be here.
And that leaves us with one final, profound question. Knowing what we know now about the incredible rarity of our own living world, what does that mean for our search for life elsewhere in the cosmos? It really underscores the profound challenge of finding another planet like home, and just how extraordinary it is that we're even here to ask the question in the first place.